Welcome to how to use Intacct to reconcile payroll tax returns to your W-3. So we're going to be focusing on making sure your 941 tax returns add up and equal your W-3 form. So on the W-3 form, you've got federal wages, tips, other compensation in box 1, your Social Security wages, your Medicare wages in box 3 and 5. And you've got your federal tax withholding, your employee Social Security tax withheld, and your Medicare tax withheld. So I'm going to show you the reports we can run and use to make sure that these taxes and these wages match up to your W-3 form here, and go through the 941 reconciliation worksheet I've got built here to help you match up to your W-3 boxes here. So at the end of every year, you should reconcile your 941 totals to your W-3 totals, okay? So this reconciliation worksheet here helps you tie out your quarterly 941 amounts to what will go in your W-3 box 1, for example, for federal wages. You've got federal tax withholding here, your Social Security taxable wages, and your Social Security taxes and Medicare taxes. Okay, so here I've also listed box 12D. So per payroll reports in Intacct, we'll make sure 401k withholding deduction nets out to gross wages minus 401k to get to your Fed wages here. Okay, make sure that these tie out here to your W-3. Okay, so just to quick point out, these Fed wages here per your 941 line 2 should go in box 1 here in your W-3. Your federal tax withholding here per your 941's line 3 should go up here in box 2, Social Security wages and on. Okay, so you've got tax withholding, and then you've got your Medicare wages here and your Medicare tax withholding here. Okay, also box 12 would be 12A here would be your 401k withholding amount here per the deduction reports in Intacct, which I'll show here in a second. Okay, so just a gist of how this worksheet ties out to the actual W-3. Okay, so now I'm going to come to the report menu, and I'm going to run the payroll check tax detail report. So right here, I'm going to hit run. I'm going to run it for a year. And I'm going to get an output something like this. Okay, I'm going to have obviously some more data in here than what this is showing. But this will give you your taxable earnings and your employee-employer tax amounts. Okay. Now you can also run this on a quarterly basis to tie out your 941s if you wish, your taxable earnings and your FICA federal withholding, and make sure those agree to your payroll system. But for this purpose, I'm running it for the annual W-3 form. So I'm going to then come down here, going to export this out to Data, Excel. Once I do that, I get something similar to this. And I've got my employee tax amount, my employer, and my taxable earnings. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick little pivot on this by employee. Okay, as an example, or I can take off the employee name and I've got my totals here for my different taxes, including can add taxable earnings to that as well. Okay, you can use this to tie out to the W-3 as far as your taxable wages here for federal income tax wages and your withholding and your Social Security and Medicare taxable wages and withholding and employer taxes. Okay, so if you do this here and you add up your 941s, this Excel file here, make sure your Fed wages, withholding, Social Security information here matches the W-3 like I showed, and use this check tax earnings or check tax detail report to tie out also those taxable wages, withholdings. That will help reduce any IRS notices or letters that you may receive. Okay, so the big thing is your 941s that are filed should match your W-3. Otherwise, you're going to get a notice from the IRS at some point. Okay. Now, one more report we want to run is the deduction register. So let me find that one here. So payroll deduction register. So it's in your menu, your interactive custom reports menu right here. So you're going to run that, dump it out to Excel, export here, data to Excel. It's going to look something like this. You can filter for the 401k deduction here. Okay, and in the sample data, there's no 401k withholding, but you could add up these 401k deduction amounts. Excuse me, I just need to scroll over. You'd add up these pre-tax contribution amounts here, and that would go on the reconciliation worksheet here to tie out your gross wages to get to your Fed wages, for example. Okay, so a couple reports to help you. It's going to be the check tax details and the deduction register to help you get to your box 12, 401k, and your taxable wages and your taxes here. Okay, so check tax details is going to give you your taxable earnings and your employer-employee amounts. Okay, so you can use this to also tie out your state withholding, annual state withholding tax returns, your SUTA, all your other taxes listed here. You can put filters on it or do pivot tables on this to help you get to that amount if you want to use taxable earnings along with it. There are also year-to-date, month-to-date payroll tax total reports that are covered in another video that Mike Bayo is doing that tie out your totals with your taxes to those forms. But however, if you need taxable earnings along with it, you will need to use the payroll check tax detail report. Okay, so if you run these payroll check tax totals reports that he goes through in those videos that are called Preparing for the Payroll Year End and Sage Intact, he does cover those reports. Okay, so I'm going to just touch on him here briefly. So the payroll check tax total reports, right here, payroll tax totals. You can run this and get those as well. However, the taxable earnings are not on there. Okay, added all the employees here. Just going to hit view. If you run these before your first payroll in the next year, your year-to-date amounts here, you can help tie out to your W-3, okay? But your taxable earnings aren't on here. So if you just want to tie the tax out, this is definitely a good report to use. Again, just make sure you're in the right period when you're running these reports so you get the correct year or quarter or month, for example, okay? So if you watch all our payroll year-end videos, it will help you properly file your W-3s, your W-2s, make sure that your 941s tie out to your W-2, W-3s, tie out your other tax returns as well if you'd like using this worksheet, which I'll attach to this video here. But make sure your 941s at the minimum match up to your W-3s. Okay, use the payroll check tax detail, the payroll deduction detail, or payroll tax totals reports here to help facilitate that tie out. And as always, reach out to us if you have any questions. Thanks so much.